Welcome, beautiful soul. My name is Vlada de Sousa, and I'm the host of your Soul's Therapist podcast. The show is on a mission to give you safe and practical tools so you can become more conscious, intuitive, and expressed version of yourself. I want to assure you that this is your safe haven to reconnect with disowned parts of your spirit, heal your heart, balance your energy, and embody your authenticity. I hold as a sacred intention that with each episode, your soul's growth will take another empowered step. May we make our world a better place through our personal spiritual revolution. Thank you for joining me. I feel blessed to have you here. Hello, friends, and welcome back to your Soul's Therapist podcast. Today, I'm going to be talking to you alone, and I have a quiet, popular topic that I would like to bring up to the table and share with you everything I have learned in my practice and in my personal journey about this very familiar for a lot of us feeling of being stuck. And if I'm saying this and you feel something inside you that for some time you have been trying to get out of some kind of internal, mental, or emotional stuckness, then definitely I would love to have you until the end of this episode, because I will be sharing a lot of examples from my work as a guide, mentor, and therapist, and from my own personal journey. Let's say we will dissect this topic of each of us at some point in our lives, in one way or another, could get in a place where we feel torn towards different directions. And I will be explaining why this happens, how this happens, and the most important, what doesn't work when you want to address it and what works when you want to address it. So I would say this episode is for literally every person, every human being, because we all have different parts of us. We have different sides of us. We all have cultural conditioning. We all have some sort of traumatic experiences that we had before. We have all sharing so much of unconscious limiting beliefs and many other things. So it's very universal. And if you're feeling stuck, you are not alone. And there is absolutely nothing wrong with that. And there is no shame about it. This is how we work. This is how our human system works. There is a part of us that wants to do this thing, and then there is a part of us that resists it in one way or another. And this is how we can go trying to get out of this place for a long time. Now, in my practice, I usually get to sit with people that have already done everything and anything they could possibly imagine or come up with, or their friends recommending them to get out of those stuck places, but still somehow they are there. And whatever they did maybe worked for a little bit, but then they just feel they cannot make that decision, change the pattern, change their life. And they still seek help and support to get out of this place. And I would say, even after 10 years, it is better to continue still looking for a way to resolve those internal knots that needs to be untangled. But unfortunately, for some of us, after years and years of trying to resolve this push and pull inside. Some people come to a place of surrender, meaning they give up, meaning they do not anymore wanting to do anything about it. They just accept it, and they can say, this is how I am, so I just need to accept myself the way I am. But the truth is, years and years of their life, they wake up in some kind of tormented reality where there is internal push and pull, there is internal dialogue that never stops, and their mind keeps looping. And even if they accepted their fate and think there is nothing that can be done about it, every day of their life is impacted by this some sort of stuckness. So let's start by defining what it is. How does it manifest? How do we get stuck? How does it feel when we get stuck? Now, I like to compartmentalize our human experiences. There is definitely a lot in terms of relationship, right? Relationship usually is one of the most sensitive topic. This is where we are very vulnerable when it comes to human connection, love, and relationship. So this is a very big theme overall around relationship and connection. Then there is, in terms of personal growth, success, career growth, and all things related to that. And I would say these are the major ones. Of course, stuckness can be in every little aspect of our life in one way or another way. But let's try to start addressing the major topics. Relationship. A lot of people would say something like, I really want a family. I think I want a family. I think I want a long-term, safe, committed relationship, and maybe kids. And every time I would meet someone that would potentially be a match, I feel very unsettled. I feel very uncomfortable, and I sabotage it. And I push that person away, and I end the relationship. And this particular stuckness is around fear of intimacy, fear of getting too emotionally connected and entangled with someone that it threatens a sense of safety within. If I get too emotionally connected, if I allow that person to love me, and if I allow myself to love that person, then if they change their mind, if they will want to leave or something happens, I will not be able to tolerate it. I will not be able to tolerate abandonment, betrayal. So because the stakes are so high, we will sabotage the relationship, and we will tell ourselves 1,000 stories why this is not going to work. But the reason is we are just too afraid of being hurt in the relationship. Another side of the relationship stuckness is being stuck in a relationship where you're getting tormented, where you're getting bad treatment, or it's just not a right match. It's just not the right person. You don't have really much in common. You really realize this is wrong choice. And I will be sharing my personal story about my first marriage and how that was a really bad choice, and how for a long time I felt really stuck around ending the relationship. But yes, there is a lot of people I receive in my one-to-one work that want to quit relationship or leave marriages or leave their families, but they can't, because They are afraid that no one will love them. They are afraid of rejection. They are afraid of someone else's judgment of them. Because at the end of the day, if it's divorce, there is so much stigma and shame around it. And it will feel like I failed. I failed to have a family. It will feel like people are judging me. And to protect ourselves from other people's judgment, our own judgment and shame, we might stay in abusive, dysfunctional relationship that just do not make us happy for many years and not being able to leave it. So this is just like a two really major examples in terms of relationship. One, you want it, but you sabotage it. And another, you know you have to get out of this relationship, but you feel afraid, stuck, frozen around actually verbalizing it, making the step, and leaving the relationship. These are two major stuckness around relationship. In terms of getting a career or a life that you believe you can have, but then again, when the moment comes, sometimes we sabotage ourselves. We sabotage when the opportunity comes, or something is holding us back from that achieving what we believe we potentially can achieve. And in this particular way, what I really notice a lot is fear of overriding people in our community, triggering other people's anger and aggression and jealousy and envy towards us. This is such a common thing. And I hear all the time, like, if I succeed at something, I will never tell anyone about that because people will stop liking me, right? Because I'm succeeding, they are not, they will be comparing. So I better hide it, or I better not achieve that much to not trigger anyone. This is so common. And so on and so forth. So this is just very superficial, very first things, how for decades, people sit in the same place, feel frozen, numb, afraid to change anything. And it's, again, there is no stigma around it. There shouldn't be any shame around it. It's a very human experience, and there is a very solid reason for why we can get into this challenging places within us. And I will explain you everything about it. So when you will understand how this whole thing works, you will just see that it just makes sense and there is nothing wrong with you, that somehow you got stuck somewhere. Now, one of the things that, of course, I deal with on a daily basis is when someone had a traumatic experience, right? And traumatic experience, you can see it as I've been burnt, right? Even like if I put my hand in a fire, I've been burned. So my system will be wired to avoid everything hot, anything that will hurt me or potentially burn me, right? That's how it works. You put your hand once in the fire and your parts know never, ever do this again. We will make sure this never, ever happens again. So traumatic experiences that we didn't have tools or support to process properly, meaning to really heal the trauma, to resolve it, to get unstuck from traumatic experience, will be dictating our behavior, our choices, our decisions, everything that related to life, everything will be managed very, very powerfully and strongly. So if there is unresolved internal traumatic experience, you will know that might just feel like stuck or blocked in terms of having friendships, trusting people, trying things again. You know, if we failed badly and then everyone shamed us for it, and then we shamed ourselves for it, you will never do anything again. You will never dare again. You will never put yourself out there. You will never try again. You will be quiet, belong the line, never try again, right? So that's not self-leadership. That's a trauma response. If we did something, then we regretted we did it. The result is I will never do again. And that means we will be blocking ourselves from opportunities, possibilities. We will be blocking ourselves from life and moving forward. This is one way how unresolved traumatic experiences can be keeping us stuck and blocked. And another way is when something happened and we feel like we want a redemption. Someone did not appreciate us. Someone invalidated us. Someone emotionally neglected or abused us. Then sometimes there is a part of us that wants this to be resolved. And this is another thing why so many men and women get themselves into unhealthy toxic patterns in terms of any types of relationship. It can be intimate, it can be friendship, but we might be selecting situations or people that remind us about those situations or those people that originally hurt us so that we can try to resolve the trauma now with this person. But because this person is exactly like that person that never saw us, never appreciated us, or neglected us, or abused us, this will not happen. And what we will get is the same experience. And time after time, when we choose people, because we want their redemption, because we want exactly the same person, for example, unavailable person, unsafe person to give us love, validation, and appreciation, we will get ourselves into bad situations over and over and over again. And these toxic cycles are very dangerous because you will start losing trust to yourself that you're actually able or sane or capable of choosing right people. You will be blaming yourself. Your self-esteem will be going down the hill all the time because you will be, again, putting yourself on the rails under the train over and over again. And unfortunately, no matter how, there is a part of us rationally knowing and understanding and seeing this is exactly the same person, type, or personality. This person doesn't want kids or family, and I want it badly. And let me just go and transform them. Let me go and change them. And let me prove that actually they can love me, they can change themselves, and they can give me what I want. And what happens is a lot of conflict, battling, wasting years, time, and energy instead of actually choosing the person that also wants kids and family, instead of banging on the door that will never be opened. You cannot imagine how many people doing this to themselves over and over and over and over again. And when it's enough, there is another part of them comes in and says, you will never have a relationship. I'm blocking you. You're going to be, you decide to be single forever. You actually don't want kids. You actually don't want a relationship. So you will just be single and you're happy about that. And this is your choice. And maybe just go to monastery. And this is ending up in like a extreme sort of isolation. So trauma, unresolved trauma can put us in a place where we're seeking redemption and go in toxic cycles forever. Trauma unprocessed before can put us in a place where we just will start getting a lot of resistance, freeze responses, numbness, even panic attacks when it comes to doing something. Again, that we try to do again. Trusting someone or putting ourselves out there. It depends. So you can see that, in fact, it is us within us. It is one part of you wants to achieve those things it knows you were born to achieve. And there might be another part of you saying, and what about all my family that will just hate me for being successful? And then they might be turning away from me and abandoning me. And so I will be all this successful, but then everyone, my friends and family, will never want to be with me and never want to celebrate my success, right? So just those things can be impacting our lives every single day. And I cannot describe you how excruciating, maybe you know how excruciating it is when you know that you deserve something, that you wouldn't move forward, that you want to live life as yourself, but there are parts of you that don't think this is a good idea and they don't think this is safe. We would call them in internal family systems our protectors. So our protective parts will be pulling us back. We will be self-sabotaging. We will be sabotaging opportunities. We'll be sabotaging relationships. We'll be sabotaging. And the most funny part about this, we will not even know that we are doing this. Because when a part of you, for example, a protective part of you blends with you strongly, you think it's you. You think it's, I really am not interested in this person. Right? So the problem with this is that you will not have enough space and awareness to notice and to unblend yourself from a part that is telling you, I actually don't need anyone. Actually, I'm happy by myself. Might not happen, that awareness and unblending. And so you will think this is your choice, but this might be a very powerful part that is protecting you from risk of getting hurt and taking over, but you believe it's you. So this is how parts of us that are very powerful protectors can just block us, and we will never know that we are actually, like I would even sometimes say, kept hostage. Ourselves kept hostage by very powerful protective parts that are committed, so that something that happened before that was horrible will never happen again. They're very, very, very dedicated to their job. This will never happen again, right? And they can do it in so many ways. They can tell you so many different stories. You will believe it's you thinking this way, and then your life will be stuck. You will be or single, or you will be in abusive relationship, or you will keep yourself small, shut down, and suppressed, will never show everyone your gifts, your talents, and stand out there in so many ways. I am seeing this over and over again. Now, I know that this is something majority of us is going through, right? I know that. I see this. It's a human experience. It is a normal, real human experience. And these are the things that I see people doing. And I say, don't do this. Of course, there is always this desire. How can I just stop my mind from going back into that relationship and playing that over and over and over again and thinking, how could I do it differently? Where did I make a mistake? How? And blaming yourself and then thinking how you can change the past. I just need a break, right? So we might seek and look for a resolution. consciously, unconsciously, we will be looking for a way out of it. So what I see people doing that I think is better not to do, that is not really helping. Number one, ruminating with your friends and family. If you're stuck and you start trying to explain it to someone in your close environment and seeking their opinion, what do you think? Did I make a mistake? Was I wrong? Or was that person wrong? If you start, I would be honest and say the word using your close environment to try to resolve that stuckness within, what you will end up is listening to stories of other people and how their systems wired and how their parts are wired. And they will just tell you what is happening in their system because this is what they know. Very, very little amount of people really know how to be neutral, listen. I mean, this is a skill that, you learn to do as a job. And you might have very nice people in your surrounding that will listen to you and they will genuinely want to help you, but they can't give you any real advice because this will be something that is coming from the experience. And what needs to happen is for you to go inside, to understand what's happening, to be able to be neutral, and to be able to resolve and heal what needs to be healed and resolved so that you can get unstuck. And they will not be able to do it for you unless they're like professional, therapists. They will just not. And because you will get an input of how you should do, what you should do in these situations, you might get even more confused. It just can add to even more stronger feeling of stuckness, feeling like you're torn apart and inadequate. So number one, I don't think it's a good idea to ask for opinions and advice from people around. They just know what they know, and that's about it. And that might have nothing to do with what you are dealing with. Number two is trying to do the coaching. So how the coaching works. For example, I come to you and I tell you, I cannot get out of this toxic relationship, right? And the coach will say, oh, sounds like you're weak and it sounds like you just need to get stronger to do it. And then you will start probably working on getting more powerful, getting stronger to break through and quit the relationship. So you will have those parts of you that really, really want to get out of the relationship because they know it's time or it's really a bad person or it's really not a good relationship. So you will be coaching them to get even more powerful so they can take you out of it. But those ones that feel this ending their relationship is a sin. For example, right? A lot of people have these burdens of like religious types of burdens, like it's a sin to divorce, it's a sin to end their relationship. There are so many other parts that just cannot. They're afraid to be alone. They're afraid you will never meet anyone again. They are tired because they have done so much work already in this relationship and they just do not want to do it again. And many others. You see, so you will be strengthening one set of parts, but those might not be properly addressed, seen, understood, unburdened, and healed. So then the system can come back into harmony and you can move forward with harmony and clarity. Okay, so number two, I do not think coaching is something that is long-term sustainable. Maybe there are moments where it works. Maybe there are moments it works for a certain period of time, but this is not a real healing. Okay, so there might be still parts that are stuck. Other parts will take over that you will be empowering, but there might be other parts that will be quietly suffering, suppressed, shut down, and stuck. So I wouldn't just recommend that. And the last thing, what I don't recommend to do when you really realizing I need to get out of the stuckness, of this loop, of this pattern, of the situation, I need to change it, is try a little bit of everything. For example, you will do one therapy session, and then you will do ayahuasca, and then you will do retreat, and then you will do this and this and this and this and this. So you will try a lot of things. Some things will give you a hint of something, but actually you will not sit and take time and really, really untangle this knot inside of you. And the reason for that is there might be a part of you that actually is quiet, scared to really go there and to really understand and see and witness why you keep sitting in the same place or why you keep holding back. And so, it will tell you, no, you are trying, look, you're seeking, you're searching by doing all these little things and a lot of different healing sessions and therapy sessions and psychedelics or whichever you're doing. So we are doing it, but it's just not working. In this case, I would say it is another way how resistance presents itself, to make sure that you will not actually really go into those vulnerable places and face sometimes guilt, shame, fear. Mainly these three, guilt, shame, and fear, are the reasons why we are stuck. So there will be many strategies why, you might not actually really take it seriously and really decide to work on it. It takes courage to really make that decision. Like, I'm not gonna leave this place, or I'm not gonna stop my therapy until this is untangled, right? Very few people do that. So this is just a kind of a little bit of a brief understanding of how we get stuck, why we get stuck, and where we get stuck. And I cannot tell you enough that I see this over and over again. Sometimes I receive people that after 20 years or 10 years of being in the same pattern come to me, and actually, in the first few sessions, we already can see what's happening. And we can start addressing it. Now, there can be a lot of blocks on the road, a lot of resistances to go there. Of course, one part of us wants to work on it, another part feels let's just not go there. But again, this is how our protective system works. And that's why, to get unstuck, we cannot do therapy on ourselves. We cannot help ourselves. And if we believe we should do it ourselves, we can help ourselves. Some parts of you are fooling you, protecting you from actually getting help. Just saying this because I see this every day. All the beautiful and creative ways our system is trying to block us from seeing the vulnerable sides, from looking into the trauma that happened, from addressing, those unpleasant feelings inside of us. And this is how our system prevents us from healing, from growth, untangling, and moving forward. And saying that, I can clearly let you know that without someone sitting there creating maps of parts, taking it really slowly, helping you to unblend when necessary, bringing, recognizing that it's not yourself speaking, it's a protective part of you speaking right now, and then helping you to see that, helping you to recognize it, cannot happen on its own. You cannot do this type of therapy on yourself. So I would say, do not even fool yourself into I can do it on my own. I can resolve my things. I can take care of it. Most likely, this is a part. This is not yourself. So we all need someone to point us to those little lies, little blind spots in this whole process. It's very, very important to have a neutral person who knows how to catch those voices that are not really our voices, and voices of our fear and voices of our protection. So that's important to know, that we can fool ourselves, we can mislead ourselves, we can gaslight ourselves, we can lie to ourselves, we can tell ourselves so many stories, and without actually reaching out to someone and saying, this is where I'm stuck, help me to get out, most likely we will just continue doing the same thing and nothing is going to be changing. Yes, I know it's not easy. Yes, I know it takes courage. But there comes a moment in time when, you know, the time is here. I really truly tried everything. I really need to change. And then the change happens. So when you are approaching this experiences in your life, what I would really want to suggest you is to be very gentle with yourself, is to be very compassionate with yourself while you're dealing with it. And I would really suggest seeking professional advice and seeking a neutral person to talk to rather than talking to your own head or talking to your friend. That will actually really make a change and really make a difference. In my practice, when I work with some sort of blockages or some sort of situation, we begin by learning how to be neutral. We begin like a first baby steps, creating maps of our parts and recognizing all this cluster of parts that is coming together around the topic of growth, around the topic of relationship. It's like they're showing up, they have different opinions, they have different beliefs, they have different feelings. And first time we spend really mapping it out. And as we map it out, we're already starting to see, it's not just the chaos that is happening inside of us, we're already starting to see what is causing the confusion, what is creating internal conflict, what is keeping us stuck. That's number one. And number two, I teach people how to do unblending and approach all parts of them, even those that are very powerful, strong protectors, with a lot of appreciation, gratitude, and compassion. And number three, I guide people in a very, very safe way to approach the vulnerability, to approach this old feelings of guilt, shame, or fear, and offer them tremendous healing. So I really love to work with internal family systems therapy model to help people to untangle. I know that for a lot of people to be able to start this journey, they can have a lot of doubts and questions around how long it's going to take. In the way that I help people to really unravel the knots within is learning how to see their parts, how to approach them, how to neutralize the suffering and the pain, how to neutralize all the protective strategies, and become self-led. So for some people, it takes a year or two. For some people, it takes a couple months, and so on and so forth. It's really, really personal. Now, I want to share with you that I will be offering structurized very safe, non-demanding, non-pathologizing, shameless place and opportunity for anyone who really wants to try to work with someone on the particular nod, on a particular stuckness in their life. This will be around 12 sessions with me and other things. I want you to learn everything about the program by the link in my bio. I will be sitting with these people and choosing one particular place and untangling it. Now I give it to begin with 12 sessions, and I believe in 12 sessions, there can be a lot of discharging of this internal war and conflict. There can be way more neutrality and understanding and depth. And I believe in 12 sessions, there is very high likelihood of really getting out of some sort of stuckness. I will not be telling you this is it, and 12 sessions will, make you the happiest person and change everything in your life. It can possibly be, and you might need more time, but I would love to have you to explore, to work in 12 sessions and to give it your all and to give it your best and to learn about yourself and hopefully come out the other side with way more self-energy, way more clarity, way more compassion to yourself, and have courage to do whatever you feel you want to happen in your life. So go ahead and check in the link in my bio, my new program. It's called Untangle. And this is where everything I have been discussing with you today will be happening. If you have any questions, let me know. And the registration application for this particular program will be ending on the 1st of July. So if you want to apply, you can click the button, apply, fill the application, and I will get back to you if I think we are a good match and I definitely can help you. But I will anyway get back to you and tell you what I think about your particular story or situation. There is also another way. You can schedule like a short 15-minute call with me where we can, again, understand what's going on. And I can honestly tell you what I think about it, how long it will take, and how I can help you. But this program consists of 12 75-minute sessions, which will be weekly. I will be very, very excited to show you the way out if you're ready. In the next episode, I will be answering most common questions around this work and hopefully giving you even more understanding around how to get unstuck in your inner world and then in the outer world. Thank you so much, guys, for listening to this episode, and until very soon. Much love. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of Your Soul's Therapist podcast. I want you to know that I deeply appreciate your willingness to find healing for your soul and add to our collective sanity. If you feel like this podcast offered you something valuable, I invite you to circulate a goodwill back by rating the show and clicking the button follow. If you will share this episode with your friends and family, I will be beyond grateful. My investment of time and energy to create this authentic content is significant, and your input and support can make a huge, huge difference. And before you go, I want to remind you that each of our journeys are unique and truly complex. And my commitment is to look at your soul with clarity, to help you see what you might be blind to see, and gently guide you out of the places where you have been stuck. Whether you're drawn to my intuitive healing sessions or profound depth of counseling, I'm here, ready to accompany you on your path. Go to my website, vladadesousa.com, and choose the best way to work with me one-on-one. May you be blessed.